With a population of more than 200 million people, 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, including 774 local government councils, Nigeria is the most populous nation in Africa, with wide-ranging potentials for development. Although the three tiers of government have some measure of independence, they are expected to work concurrently to deliver services to raise the Human Development Index. With the states at the center, primary concern of government is harnessing the wide range of resources available for the provision of basic social amenities of life and infrastructure. Now, this can be done through provision of affordable healthcare services, access to education, job creation, employment opportunities, among other necessities for economic growth that will in turn generate and contribute to the gross domestic product of the country. In the words of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the inauguration of the National Economic Council, NEC, and I quote, "Collaboration is not a crime. Let's do this." The task is to enable the states stand out in their areas of comparative advantage by assessing areas of development priorities to ensure exclusivity and ownership of policies and programs at all tiers of government. To set priorities right and achieve results, some economists say states must conquer deep-rooted ethnicity, religious divide, political differences, insecurity, and even climate change through the establishment of achievable, vibrant action plan. Now, it is equally important to note that building strong democratic institutions, governance, gender equality, and human rights are not the exclusive preserve of the federal government, as imbibing the culture will support setting priorities right for actualization of goals of development. Now, how can states enhance human capital development as key to setting priorities right? What measures are required to accelerate the provision of the much-needed social amenities and infrastructure against other competing variables? My guest is Prince Simon Achuba. He was former Deputy Governor of Kogi State from 2016 to 2022. He was also former Deputy Speaker of Kogi State House of Assembly from 2003 to 2007. I am Jumma Yusuf. A warm welcome to Weekend File. First, the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu today received his counterpart from Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Mbalo, in a private meeting. The Guinean president, who is also chairman authority of ECOWAS heads of state and government, was received by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State on arrival at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. The visiting president arrived at the Lagos private residence of the Nigerian leader at about 12:45 p.m. The meeting behind closed doors lasted about 2 hours. Special advisor to the president on special duties, communication and strategy, Dele Alake, speaks about the private visit.
It was a private visit, and we had to be on hand to receive him. And our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, received him very warmly. And the president of Guinea-Bissau himself exuded some enthusiasm and warmth. He expressed his solidarity with the president of Nigeria and his readiness to cooperate with Nigeria at all times and with our current president. And he commended the laudable and policy initiatives of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the last 1 month. And he said that everybody in the world, in the international community, have been commending his giant strides. So he came to pay his solidarity and to pay courtesy call, as it were, and to bond with him as a brother African head of state in the first instance, and in particular as a brother West African ECOWAS head of state, in general. And they also spoke about the forthcoming ECOWAS meeting, which is very imminent, and spoke on other areas of cooperation. But generally speaking, it was a very strictly private visit. but it was very amiable. And this is a very commendable sign of things to come into the entire West African sub-region in terms of the atmosphere that is being generated by Nigeria's giant steps in the last 1 month, and the need for Nigeria to take its rightful place, in the African affairs. And everybody is looking up to Nigeria. Everybody in Africa, and especially in the ECOWAS region, is looking up to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, him, is ready to take up the gauntlet.
This is the first time President Tinubu will be receiving a counterpart from other countries. Meanwhile, state governors have been expressing readiness to follow the example of what they described as good leadership posture being shown by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. President Tinubu has severally called on subnational governments to be ready for the responsibility of good governance, and some of the governors, including those of Kogi and Benue states, say they are ready to take a cue.
Well, like he has charged us, we must all be ready to sacrifice more. We must be ready, even if we have to step on toes to satisfy Nigerians. We should be ready to do that. Like Mr. President, he has every opportunity to latch onto the past systems that really held people down, but he refused. He is after the people, the masses. The removal of subsidy is one example. He could have latched onto that cartel and continued the same business without anybody's knowing. Yes, he has removed it. There is a temporary hardship. But in the end, Nigerians are going to be smiling, and we will be grateful to God Almighty for bringing this wonderful president as our commander-in-chief.
Yeah, we are supposed to give him every support for the administration to succeed. And he started on a very sound note. His economic programs are going to be quite pivotal, not just at the federal level, but to all of us at the subnationals. And as he has started, he's carrying everybody along, and he wants everything, even including the palliatives that we're talking about, which will come in a very short distance, to trickle down to where that should go, to all Nigerians. So it's very clear that he has all his heart out there for every Nigerian, and I'm quite pleased with that, and we are all supportive. I'm 100% supportive of that as well.
The governors were part of visitors paying Salah homage to the president at his private residence in Lagos. The world's biggest Muslim tent, which hosts more than 2 million Muslim pilgrims in Saudi Arabia, has been closed this Saturday, signifying the end of this year's Hajj. Our correspondent Usman Aliu reports that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu sent a delegation which interacted with the pilgrims at Muna before moving out.
The last day of Hajj, a day for the completion of rites, the symbolic throwing of pebbles at a pillar where Satan tries but failed to tempt Prophet Ibrahim. While in Muna, pilgrims exchanged views with officials from Saudi government and the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria on challenges at the tent, with a view to make amendments in the future.
And again, here in Saudi Arabia, we're already talking to get lease for vehicles, buses. We intend to buy the CNG-powered buses, about 100, so that our pilgrims will not suffer anymore.
We're aware of some of the challenges which cut across. One of is the tent, which is not enough for the pilgrims. The second is time to time, the food that does not come either in time, it's not the food Nigerians are used to. Of course, we have deliberated with those who are our landlord. That is, those who are in charge of the tent, who also are in charge of the food.
A delegation sent by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, led by the Nigeria's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Yahya Lawal, extend the goodwill of the president to the pilgrims. The president assured the pilgrims that the next exercise will be improved and enjoined them to continue praying for Nigeria and ensure good conduct while in the Holy Land.
So we count on your understanding. The president looks forward to this. Please remember your country in your prayers.
While formally declaring closed the Hajj 2023, the Saudi government said henceforth the tent allocation in Muna will be based on countries that come first to select sites based on the number of their contingents. In Makkah, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
Now, do you know that for more than 200 years, a group of people have been responsible for wealth creation and eliminating poverty in the society? They are the cooperatives, which is why a day is set aside to show how the cooperative way of working can help accomplish the Sustainable Development Goals. Muplang Dakop reports.
Cooperatives are associations of people united to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations. The International Cooperative Alliance, ICA, and the United Nations say cooperatives contribute to economic, social, and environmental sustainability across regions and economic sectors.
Well, I've had it, but I'm not into the system. The one I know is about normal daily contribution, which I do at the end of the month. I collect my money, or I do from January to December, I get the money.
I did not belong to any cooperative society yet, because I don't have need for it for now.
Experts say cooperative societies are particularly significant in Nigeria because they help raise citizens' standards of living.
When I started working, I started as a junior staff, but with cooperative, I was able to get money to go to a higher institution and complete my studies.
My husband belongs to them. He's a member. And sometime they bought a vehicle for somebody, and they are even into estates.
The first Saturday of July every year is set aside to celebrate the International Day of Cooperatives and show the world what can be achieved through the power of cooperation.
Cooperatives provide tax to government that is applied towards the provision of basic amenities and infrastructure. Two, cooperatives improves competition because of its low production and operation costs. Cooperatives essentially address market failures and gaps that are ignored by other private businesses, like provision of low-interest loans and low-cost housing to its members.
In Nigeria, cooperatives at various levels help safeguard community relations and adopt sustainable and long-term business practices. This year's theme is Cooperatives, Partners for Accelerated Sustainable Development. In Abuja, Muplang Dakok, NTA News.
To security matters, Nigeria's military is leveraging the new impetus of rejigging by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to combat security challenges. This played out at the 4 Special Forces Command Doma, Nasarawa State, with the arrest of 12 suspected rail track vandals and 2 truckloads of railway tracks. Issa Mohammed reports that the suspects were handed over to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, whose mandate it is to protect critical national infrastructure for further investigation.
Handing over the suspects at the command headquarters, the acting deputy director of the Army Public Relations of the 4 Special Forces, Major Joseph Adekunle, said the suspects were arrested during routine patrol and intercepted between Angwanyara and Ajarogu communities along Makodi Road. He noted that the troops further conducted another raid operation, which led to the arrest of 7 other suspects connected to the vandalism of the rail tracks.
The suspects were arrested in connection with the finalization of rail track in large quantity, which were loaded in 2 12-tire trucks. Subsequently, during the course of further investigation, prominent citizens within Lafia and Jos Plateau states were mentioned as members of the syndicates.
Some of the suspects claim ignorance of the illegal activities, while others admitted being culpable.
I came back from school last 2 weeks, Wednesday. So I decided to go on with them so that I will look for what to sponsor myself.
And they say I should carry this motor to go lot around Ajaragwe site. Then I'll come back. And the time where they give me the motor, I tell them, say, I'll still go back to school around 2 o'clock, go and park student. So they just tell me, say, I should carry it, go lot and come back before that 2 o'clock.
Similarly, he noted that already 2 other red track suspects have been transferred to the Nigerian Police Criminal Investigation Department, Lafia. The Deputy Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, National State Command, who received the suspects on behalf of the command, assured the public of thorough investigation and continuous collaboration with other security agencies to free the states from activities of vandals and secure national critical infrastructure. In Lafia, Isam Hamad, NTA News.
Ebonyi State Police Command has paraded 24 suspects for alleged kidnapping and armed robbery. 9 of those paraded were allegedly involved in the killing of an INEC staff and kidnap of his wife. Ijoma Peter Nwente tells us more.
Briefing journalists on the recent breakthroughs and successes recorded by the command through intelligence gathering and community-based policing. The Commissioner of Police, Ebonyi State Command, explained that the 24 suspects arrested and paraded at the Ebonyi State Police headquarters were allegedly involved in armed robbery and kidnapping in the state. He said 9 out of the 24 suspects were allegedly involved in the kidnap of Mrs. Igwe Charity Nwosu, an INEC staff in Ebonyi State, whose husband was also shot and killed along Lobanta.
Since I stepped here, I told you I would give them a fight, bloody one. We have engaged them, and we have succeeded.
Some of the suspects interviewed denied involvement in the crimes.
Whose gun is this? This is a community gun. They gave me owned by Igiriga. Who is that Igiriga? Igiriga is a friend. It's a friend of mine, which I know I was connected to Igiriga through a friend.
Okay. So the guy now said, okay, he will go and arrange guys that can come over to the fuel station and attack the man. I looked at it, I said no, because the thing will affect me because he's my neighbor and this is my shop.
Items recovered from the suspects include an AK-47 rifle with 13 rounds of live ammunition, a G3 rifle with a magazine of 9 live bullets, 1 pump action gun, locally fabricated single-barrel guns, and a Lexus 330 RS saloon car. In Abakaliki, Ijoma Peter Nwente, NTA News.
And in Akwa Ibom State, the police has arrested a total of 269 suspects for various crimes within the second quarter of the year. Kelvin Samuel reports that 3 of the suspects are allegedly involved in the kidnap of the vice-chancellor of a private university in Akwa Ibom State.
Thursday Okon is a domestic staff of a vice-chancellor of a private university in Akwa Ibom State who allegedly arranged the kidnap of his boss with the help of his friends on the victim's way from the church, seeking for 8 million naira ransom. Luck ran out on the alleged culprit as a prompt response of the anti-kidnapping squad of the police led to the arrest within 48 hours of the incident. Akwa Ibom State Police Commissioner Olatoye Durosimi says a suspected ritualist with human score, fraudsters involved in fake alerts, suspected murderers are among those currently in the police net.
So be very careful about those who are working with you. Do not tell them everything. He was able to tell them about the 5 million naira that's in the man's account, and that was the basis of negotiation. At the same time, you have seen the man who goes about giving fake alert, who said he's a medical doctor. Don't allow anybody to just examine you when you are not sure of his qualification. It's a warning. We will not tolerate cultism in Akwa Ibom State.
While some of the suspects are already in court, others will soon be arraigned. Exhibits, including 1.2 million naira cash, are currently in the custody of the police. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTA. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If bringing government close to the people is a major feature of federal system of government, then state is the second tier of government, is at the center of it all. Ignatius Unko in this background report highlights the major constitutional roles of state governments in Nigeria, challenges and prospects.
Constitutional division of functions among the tiers of government is a major feature of federalism. 68 items are contained in the exclusive list. The exclusive list reserved for the federal government, while 12 in the concurrent list. The concurrent list is where the federal and state government have powers to legislate on. These include allocation of revenue, antiquities and monuments, archives, collection of taxes, electoral law, exhibition of industrial, commercial or agricultural development centers, scientific and technological research, universities, technological and post-primary education. These are very significant developmental projects that mitigate poverty among the people. But where there is conflict among the two tiers of government, the federal law overrides. There have been debates on the status of states and Nigeria's fiscal federalism. Maintenance of law and order and the protection of citizens' rights remain the most significant function of the second tier of government.
Securing of lives and property are roles that both the state and federal government performs.
Some persons have continued to call for more economic empowerment for states.
There have been several clamors in our great country on the need to renegotiate, intergovernmental fiscal relations, in appropriating more responsibility and revenue to states.
Notwithstanding the constitutional demarcation of roles, the federal government has taken some steps in ensuring true federalism, although not enough has been done. Allowing states establish their local security outfits, the 9th National Assembly amended the Constitution and empowered states to go into electricity generation and distribution, allowing states carry out federal projects within their jurisdiction.
The National Assembly have amended the bill. The states have the powers to go into provision of energy. Look, unemployment in Nigeria, it is the people who couch the Constitution, bringing the power provision under the purview of the federal.
A lot of things were the importance of the Constitution tells a lot to the people. And there are other areas which the laws made for years, 1979, and they need to be amended. They have to go with the time.
Federal government makes provision of special security to states with peculiarities. The need for improved revenue generation by states has become inevitable. Observers believe that reduction in the cost of governance, allowing states to be in charge of value-added tax within its jurisdiction, and the automation of tax system will make them buoyant enough to cater for its citizens. Ignatius Unko, NTA News.
With the slogan Center of Excellence, Lagos State, apart from being Nigeria's commercial capital, is the 5th largest economy in Africa. But amidst this enviable feat is the perennial challenge of gridlocks and flooding. Joel Popoala reports that to tackle the hydra-headed monster, the state government is working on improving transportation and infrastructure as part of its key development priorities.
Nigeria's former capital, Lagos, which is often described as a land of opportunities, has grown to become a mega city with remarkable improvements across all sectors of the economy. Analysts say one of the factors for this is the government's strict compliance with the state's master plan, which has become a roadmap for development, guiding successive administration in the state.
We stand on the threshold of a new era, an era that calls for us to evolve, where every citizen is a part of our growth story, and where the global community looks forward to us with respect and admiration.
Despite the structure, Lagos is bedeviled with challenges of flooding and traffic congestion, an unwanted narrative the state is trying to change through its transformation policy. Many Lagosians believe the state government should spread its developmental tentacles all around Lagos so that no part is left behind and pressure that causes gridlock in some areas is checked.
Affordable housing programs have been implemented. However, there remains a necessity for additional affordable choices to cater to the increasing demand of a growing population.
One of the challenges that has been prevalent is traffic congestion. What I look forward to them doing is to put some infrastructure in some certain area.
Some political actors also emphasize the need to give special attention to infrastructural development that factors in the ever-growing population of Lagos and its economic prowess.
Lagos is not only for Lagosians. Lagos is a miniature Nigeria. There is no tribe in Nigeria that is not in Lagos. So when you do something special for Lagos, you are doing it for the whole country.
Economic analysts believe that the pressure on Lagos will be drastically reduced if development spreads to neighboring states. In Lagos, Joel Ukbola, NTA News.
Thank you, Joel. And that set the tone for our conversation on Weekend File this evening. And my guest is the former Deputy Governor of Kogi State and former Speaker, House of Assembly, Kogi State. He's Prince Simon Achuba. Thank you so much for coming on Weekend File.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, Nigeria is quite large with more than 200 million Nigerians, and most of these people are domiciled in the states. And what should be the key area of priorities for state government in able to provide basic amenities for the people?
Well, thank you very much. Providing amenities to the people first starts from allocation of resources. There are two tiers connected to the state and the local government. The local government must have their resources to be able to develop. There are responsibilities for the local government. There are responsibilities for the state. Any state government that does not permit her local government to have her allocation cannot develop that state, because development starts from the local government areas. And once the local government areas are starved of funds, as it is in many states, development in that state become haphazard kind of development. And so, to develop a state properly, there is a need for proper allocation of resources. The independent arms of government must have their resources as it is allocated. Now, when you look at the security situation, which is the priority of government, why it is breaking down in Nigeria is because the third tier of government, which is the local government, are just existing virtually on papers. They are just existing. You can have a situation where a local government has an allocation of 200 million, and at the end of the day, the money that gets to the local government is just 10 million. What is that local government chairman going to do? Just nothing. So there must be that independence of the arms of government. Same for the judiciary, same for the state legislative houses. If these independence are ensured, then development will take place. The checks and balances will be there, and development will take place. So the issue of security first must be resolved. Once the issue of security is resolved, and there is peace in a state, development follows. If the farmers cannot go to farm, because if they go to farm, they are going to be kidnapped, or there will be war, they will be scared. And so agri production will fail, hunger will set in. We need to address security at every state, in every state. And in doing this, security is local. You have to start from the local government. Like if somebody comes to a village, now the chief need to know. The chief need to know that a stranger has come. But today, these things are no longer working that way. People get into the bush, hide there, and at the end of the day attack communities, and then they get away with it. But if the local government chairmen are empowered, they will set up their security network, and these things will not be like that. There will be enough information distribution within the local government, so that when a stranger comes, or if you notice new sets of people coming in, the chairman, the traditional ruler will know, and they'll follow them up, and things will work better. But when the local government are starved of funds, so the security situation will be an apology, and the chairman sits down helpless. So my take is this, that allocation of resources should be allowed to go to where it has been given, the local government, the state assembly, and the judiciary. And so by so doing, democracy will work better.
Okay, thank you. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, we'll talk about strengthening, the democratic institutions in states for them to be able to deliver dividends of democracy. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. And my guest, Prince Simon Achuba, former Deputy Governor of Kogi State and former Deputy Speaker, Kogi State House of Assembly, is still here in the studio. We talked about security, and experts have also said that there should be a strong democratic institution in Nigeria, like gender equality, human rights. They are not only the preserve of the federal government. And we saw President Tinubu, while inaugurating the NEC, promised to sustain the rejuvenation of the economy. He also called on states to join forces, as the task of growing the economy is enormous and the need to harness Nigeria's potential to stimulate growth. Now, are we going to see a paradigm shift in how federal and state governments come together to be able to deliver the dividends of democracy?
Yes, thank you very much. On the part of the federal government, they have been standing right with respect to resource allocation to the state and the ensuring that democracy strives in Nigeria. But when you move to the state, it is not the same. When allocation comes to the state, most of the states take the local government allocation and they use them up. And when this money is used up, it affects so many things. The economy of the local government, the security of the local government, the education of the local government, the industry in the local government, all comes to naught because the chain, the economic chain, the lubrication of money moving around is stopped. So the local government is starved, and local governments are dying gradually. In a situation where local government staff take a monthly salary of 5,000 under the current economy, 5,000 can not buy 10 litre of fuel as at today. So how much will that man take to work? How much will be left to feed his family, his health, his children, and every other needs, the social needs of that family? So it's a pathetic situation. And I want to plead with the federal government to stand their ground, to make sure that necessary legislation are put in place to ensure that money allocated to local government areas get to local government accounts, and that any chairman who takes money out of the local government to go and give the state should be held responsible, because sometimes this money is paid into their account. They are forced to take this money and return them back to the state. That kind of a thing is not good for the nation. If you become a governor of a state and resources are scarce, you should look for means of generating your internal, of improving your internal revenue, and not taking the local government funds and then using them for the state. And I think that...
So how can states, enhance human capital development in this case now?
State can enhance human capital development by ensuring that resources first are allocated accordingly. Secondly, state must ensure that education is given priority, because capital development cannot be without the human development. So you must educate the people so that they know exactly what to do per time. Most of the local government today, the primary schools have gone off the street because the teachers are not paid, and so they don't even come to school. For instance, my local government, the primary schools in my local government are not functioning as at today. As at today, there is not one single functional secondary school in my local government. This is a fact. So when you begin to breed uneducated people and there is no provision, to improve them educationally, you are increasing the insecurity situation of that local government, and by extension, that of the state. That is what is happening. So when the people are not educated, they can easily be convinced to run into crime, because they see people using money in a way that is attractive. And so they try to go into it to have the money at all costs. That is exactly what is happening. But when people are educated and they are taught the way to live a decent life, crime will be reduced in the local government. Our government at the state level should have a rethink towards ensuring that resources are properly distributed. When resources are properly distributed, capital development will be a joint venture of the people themselves and not just the state alone.
Okay, well, I'm sure the states will have cause to smile now, because we saw state governors at President Tinubu's house agreeing with his proposal that they must come together, collaborate, so that state government and local governments can also thrive. Thank you so much, Prince Simon Achuba, former Deputy Governor of Kogi State from 2016 to 2022, and also former Deputy Speaker Kogi State House of Assembly from 2023 to 2007. Thank you so much. 2003 to 2007. I seem to forget time and time. Thank you so much for coming on Weekend File. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much.
You're watching NTA. Let's bring you a break. When we return, more on Weekend File. Do stay. You're welcome back to Weekend File. Nigeria's appearance at the 9th FIFA Women's World Cup must be for the noble purpose of bringing the converted cup home at all cost. Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, said these at a dinner organized to set forth the team as they depart the country on Sunday for the 2023 Mondial in Australia and New Zealand. Drumming support for the Super Falcons, the First Lady, who was represented by APC National Women Leader Betta Edu, notes that football is a major unifier in the country and urged the team to work hard enough to match the expectations of Nigerians.
As you depart for the competition, I charge you to make Nigeria proud. Like the said, 99% of Nigerians will be screen glued, watching at you, praying for you, rooting for you, hailing you, praying that you bring home this cup. At all costs, bring the cup home. Always remember that we are with you and we're praying for your success.
While expressing her faith in the ability and pedigree of the team to excel at the World Cup, Senator Oluremi Tinubu promised to receive the team herself when they bring home the cup. The sent-forth dinner, which also has Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shuaib and members of the diplomatic corps in attendance, was organized by the Nigerian Football Federation ahead of the team's departure to Australia for the second leg of training camp before the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023. The Super Falcons is one out of 7 countries that have featured at the Women's World Cup since inception in 1991. And for more on sports, let's join our sports decks.
Nigeria's home-based men's basketball team, the Tigers, recorded an impressive win at the FIBA African qualifiers with a 78-51 victory over Benin Republic on Saturday, and they will now face Cote d'Ivoire in their last group game on Sunday.
A quick check on the weather prospects for Sunday for Nigeria and the rest of the world is next.
You're welcome. We expect an unstable weather for parts of the northwest and central cities, where they are expected to begin the day with very early morning rains from an overnight weather storm to affect parts of Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kaduna, some parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Niger, Benue, and Plateau State. Thunderstorms are also likely to affect parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Borno, some parts of Bauchi axis, and to the southern half of the country. We expect more of light intermittent rains, most especially towards the coastal region of the country. However, we expect some respite over the southwest and environs in the morning hours. These continuous rains are mostly intermittent, giving more wetness along the coastline and its inland areas of the south all through Sunday. But moving up north, we expect more rains with thunder, with more intensity and wider coverage by late afternoon into evening hours. Please stay tuned for temperature updates. I remain Joyce Ogunleye. I'll see you again.
That's Weekend File for this week. Thanks so much for your time. I am Jummai Yusuf.